So this is John Robb here, talk to Slim Jim Phantom about the 5 cultural things that are getting him through the lockdown for Underground. Okay, Jim, so how is the lockdown in Los Angeles?
Well, really, we determined before that besides really going to restaurants, it's pretty much the same exact thing that we always do. It's not that much different. There's a gig once in a while that we haven't been to, but there's no gigs. So shy of that, going to restaurants and maybe seeing a few other folks, we do the same thing anyway. So I think a lot of people are finding that out, but it's just the convenience, I think, of the little everyday things. We need some biscuits. Well, it's a whole operation. We want to get the mail. That's a whole operation. But really, besides the little inconveniences of it, we have a nice house. We're stocked up and everybody's safe. And so
have you been creative? A lot of people using the downtime to make a lot of music, aren't they?
Yeah, we've been working on Jenny V's solo album, and the good thing is that no one's got an excuse for not going to the studio because they've been doing it from home, so everyone's contributing their bits and kind of looking forward to a project. It was Sensible the other day, and, a few people. No one's got an excuse. Well, I got to go to the studio. There's too much traffic. In a funny way, it's going to help doing stuff like that.
So you actually still going to the studio? Is there a studio nearby?
Well, I do in the past. Now we're not. We're doing everything over the computer magic is doing it now. But everyone's kind of set up at their house, it seems. Yeah. I was like the last of the Mohicans still going to studios. But life hasn't changed that much, really,
Yeah, for so far. What's the vibe in America? Do people think this is going to go on for a long time, or what? Well,
we hear. Who knows? Every day, it's like I've kind of tuned out a little until there's big news, because here, I don't know if it's the same thing. There's 17 channels and constant minutia of almost opinions. By this doctor thinks that it's all kind of the same thing, but no one's got anything exact to say at the same time. So we just wait for some better news. And the good thing is we've been doing our radio show. I do 2 radio shows. One is like a sports themed one for baseball, because I'm the one rock and roll guy that knows about baseball, and then that we do live over Zoom like this. For Sirius, and then we do a music one that we've been doing in the closet that Jenny set up, like a little studio with a nice mic and a pop shield and the laptop and an interface. So we've been doing all of our jobs still kind of the same way, except not going to the studio.
Yeah, that's what it is. Everyone's just moved into their bedrooms with technology. Yeah. Exactly. So what are the 5 cultural items that get you through this? These could be anything. It could be music. It could be what you're watching on TV. It could even just be taking your dog for a walk. What's getting you? What are the 5 key things that get you through this?
As usual, music is is the main one, which every week we have to do the show, our show for, that I do for Stevie Van Zandt here. I don't know if you have Sirius so much in England, but from Sirius XM, I do a show for Stevie Van Zandt every week. So during the week, I just try to find new stuff and play records, just go through stuff and try to find the right playlist every week. So that kills some time always, because it leads you down the rabbit hole of music then. So you wound up.
Is there any particular bits of music that are getting you through, you just keep going back to?
Well, for me, it's the same as always. I go back to the first 2 Gene Vincent albums and Rubber Soul, and, Chuck Berry After School Session, and Exile on Main Street. the same ones as always. But it's really good because I've been doing the show now for 2 years, so I always try to find a different Carl Perkins song to play every week, or a different Gene Vincent song. And luckily there are quite a few of these. There's a lot of rockabilly music out there, and all of the tentacles from it.
I was watching that great show you did with Carl Perkins last night on YouTube. Was it from 85, 86?
Yeah.
Really great.
Fantastic.
All the playing of that, you don't realise what a great rockabilly player George Harrison was.
Yeah, he loved it, and that show really led to a very nice friendship that I had with the guy for the rest of the time, and we've recently reconnected with Olivia, who was my friend back then, a few months ago, and now we're very closely in touch, and it was just, perfect timing not to go out to restaurants, but like we've connected and we talk a lot. So that was a very special night that led to a whole other, very kind of, pleasant little side street in my life of people that I got to know from doing that show. Yeah, that was something to be proud of. So music takes up a lot of time doing that, and like in a good way.
Yeah, do you find listening to those records, the classics, in a situation like this, does it take you back to maybe an easier time, a warmer time in a way? Does it sound different, the music, when you listen to it, the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think it does. I think I still tend to notice little things in all these records that I don't know if I'm listening more closely or maybe in a different way, but all these records that I think I know so well, I still hear something different. So that's the good part of it all. And Gene Vincent made 25 albums, so I'm still kind of finding Carl Perkins too, like guys like that, Buddy Holly. There's like, there's the treasure troves of this stuff. Elvis Presley, of course, and then all the other stuff that it leads down. I'm not locked into rockabilly only. So anything that kind of leads me down another path, that somehow the path kind of threads back through Eddie Cochran. That's what we say. All roads lead to Eddie Cochran. So if it's your music, or if it's any kind of music that came since, has somehow been influenced by it. And since that's my spin of the show, it's kind of allows me to play a lot of different stuff. So that takes up a good time, goodly amount of time. And we watch watch the old game shows that's got all the your favorite B celebrities from the 1970s and 80s on them. We like those ones.
Well, so quiz shows where you can answer the question, answer the questions.
The Hollywood Squares and who's on that one. I kind of remember the show that guy was on. So we do that. The television is always kind of there. We try not to turn it on all day, and we try to avoid the news, which we're pretty good at. So and I'm a very big New York Times crossword puzzle person, which there are quite a few of. So that's something to look forward to every day, and like you mentioned before, we do walk the dog every day. That's kind of the one thing.
Is that the dog there that was just climbed up?
Yeah, and while we're on our walk, we pick other people's oranges and lemons and bring them home and make vitamin potions every day. So based on our neighbors' fruit trees that are hanging over the we got grapefruits, we got lemons, we got oranges, all right on our street.
Wow, you actually stealing those, or are you just borrowing them?
Well, we know everyone, and I don't think they would mind. So those combined with our vitamin supplements, we got vitamin D, we got vitamin C. That kills another part of the day. That's kind of cultural, I suppose. Concocting potions. And here's one of I hope you can see. I don't know if anyone by you is doing board games, right?
Never seen that one. Oh, so it's a baseball game. Yeah. So how does that work? Just get out of the box. Let's have a look at it.
It's a board game that's based on American baseball, but it's been around since the 60s or the 50s. Every year they make a new edition. That's almost like computer science, early versions of it with dice and with they look like old-fashioned computer cards with each player and the statistics on it, and you'd be amazed how the dice really do predict the outcome. If you roll the dice long enough, the norm will happen. Kind of a funny thing. And it's a game that I had as a kid, and I accidentally came across that they were still making a new version of it. So I got a game set just right before the mail kind of slowed down and almost stopped here. So I've been teaching Jenny V the baseball rules, and we've been doing that every night.
So is it a board game, or is it is it actually have little figures in it, or is it just a proper board game?
It's board games and dice, and then computer cards.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah.
Called automatic baseball. That's very rockabilly. It's right out of the 50s. They've really had this game since then. And they make new editions every year. So you can go back and get old teams. Like you could have, Manchester United from the 50s playing against Chelsea in the 70s, like that.
Yeah. So you can actually have the same players. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you cheat when you play it, or do you play it to the dice roll game?
I can't remember the game well enough to cheat. I hadn't played it since I was a kid, so I'm still kind of,
So who's your team then? Which team do you support?
Oh, I'm a New York Yankees guy. So like you can have the new 1927 New York Yankees playing against like a team from the 60s and the 70s. It's quite extraordinary. So, but that was a blast from the past too, because I hadn't done it in so long. So,
did you play baseball? Were you a baseball player when you were younger?
Yeah. That was my other kind of passion, rock and roll and baseball. And like, I was pretty good at the drums, enough to be in a band at school. I wasn't really good enough to advance too far in baseball, but I could play.
It's interesting because when I watch you play the drums, you kind of play the drums like you're playing baseball. The swing. The big swing on it. Is that what's in your thinking? Is that just?
No, it was pretty much. I wanted to be a drummer, and I was pretty good at it. And the older you get, and like baseball, then you start playing against teams from the city and things like that. And there were too many people who were much better than me, bigger, stronger. And with the drums, I kind of thought I could do it. I had a kind of a natural little thing for it, and had always played. And then when we knew the Stray Cats as people our whole lives, but when we kind of all found rockabilly around the same time and fell in together, it was a little bit like the sum of the parts was great. It kind of to add up. Whereas like, baseball is pretty hard unless you're really, really good. So, punk rock saved everybody again,
Yeah. There's a small part of a very big generation saved by punk rock, and so it's baseball. Are you kind of fascinated with the game or actually the stats of it? Because do you know Steve Albini at all?
Yeah, sure.
He's a massive baseball fiend.
Yeah, he's very similar to me with this.
Yeah, he explained one night we were around his place, Chicago, and he explained baseball to us for hours. But it seemed to be loads of numbers and stats, and he seems to be as fascinated by the stats as the game itself. And I'm just wondering if that was the same with you.
Yeah, yes, I think everyone who is kind of very fascinated by the numbers and by the history of it, and to what level you take that to. Luckily, with me on the show I do for the sports channel on Sirius, I have a co-host who, by the computer magic, he's in St. Louis and I'm in LA, and like this, we do it via Zoom, and he's a real mathematician, analytic kind of statistical guy. I'm halfway there, but I have the youthful enthusiasm about the game still. So he and I, his name is Kyle Elfrink. He and I make a good team because some of these guys who know the numbers really know the numbers. I can imagine Albini really knowing the numbers.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
Like my show is exactly kind of for him. I should try to get in touch with him for like those fringe rock and roll people that are also into baseball. There is a little community of us. So
who else is there? What the people?
That's what the show. What's funny is that in England, it seems like it's a little bit safer for all the punk guys to also be into football. But in America, you're a rock and roller guy who likes baseball. You're always a little bit looked down on. You can't be a real rock and roller if you like baseball. Where in England, you seem to be able to get away with it a little more.
Oh, two things are tied together, especially in the 70s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that because of the jock culture in America, though? The school bullies were sports people, weren't they?
Yeah, maybe so, because everyone tended to go to be into one or the other. And the jocks that were into rock and roll, that was okay. But the rock and rollers who were into sports was even a thinner, margin. So, yeah, but it seemed different in England. Like every guy that I know in every band ever also was almost a professional soccer player.
Well, I think also in England, I mean, the great thing about football is you don't have to be very good at it to play it. It's the beauty of the sport. You can actually play for hours and have no skill. So it doesn't become a sports bullies kind of game, So that's why I appeal to people.
But so it's crazy how the Glenn, Duffy, Jones, Asprey, they were almost all professionals, all of my friends anyway.
Yeah, they have their little team in LA, don't they?
That's what they tell all the Americans.
So what music projects you work at the moment? Because we were actually meant to be touring together about now, weren't we?
Yeah, well, we were supposed to be right this minute. Jenny V was going to be in Australia with Eagles of Death Metal on tour. And I was going to go with them because I was going to be making a record with Australian artist Jimmy Barnes, who's big.
Oh, yeah.
Australian. Yeah. And he and I have been talking about making a record together since the 80s, since we've been pals. And it was finally going to somehow happen, right as we speak. We were going to go on Eagles of Death Metal tour and record during the week, and I would be able to join Jenny and her gang on the weekends. And it was all set to go. So that's the one thing we miss, is going to doing gigs. I'm sure, like you play all the time. And
it's frustrating, isn't it? Yeah.
And so that's really the biggest difference. So I guess everything will just be a big pause button right now, because I mean, the talk in my world is not whether or not something is going to happen again. It's just when it will start up.
So you say you're making a record with Jenny at the moment. You're making it at home. So what's going on there?
Well, it's good because we're involving all of our friends. Everyone is, we're all writing songs together. Sensible, Chris Chaney. So far, we had Gilby Clark's been on it. Trying to think, because we're in the early stages of it. Just like everyone sends their parts to us, we write the song, we make the demos, we put the real stuff on, then we send it back out for someone to put their parts on it, back to us, and we send it back to the guy who mixes it, and he mixes it. So far we've got 2 tracks done, and it seems like little Steven, who's also got a label, who I work for on his radio station, through his label, they're very interested in it, so I think we're going to be able to get it out. And so then our next idea was, since it seems so easy, let's get everyone on it. It seems so, let's have someone who we want a guitar solo from a certain pal of ours, send it to them. They record the guitar solo, they send it back to us. And the same with backing vocals, it seems, so far. So we've done 2 tracks, and we're in the midst of doing the 3rd one right now. So I don't know, we'll see. It's like the new way of doing things. So
yeah, I mean, we've been forced 10 years into the future, haven't we? Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I must admit I'm old-fashioned. I still like wasting the money at Capitol Studios, sitting around having pizza, playing pool, and recording. I'm old school, but this is a way that it is doable, and it's kind of fun, and it really does take the excuse out of it. What do you mean you can't do it? You have a studio in your house. Everybody does now. So.
Yeah. So do you actually record there in that room? Is that I can see the drum kit set up behind you.
Yes, we've got a drum kit in this room that's got that's a Roland kit that plugs in, and you can get any sound and any So there's really no excuse.
Yeah, and is that the kit you're actually using on the album, or do you have a full kit set up?
Yeah, you do this. What we're doing at the moment is we're stockpiling songs, and then at the last minute, the backwards part of it is that we're going to go in and get a studio and put live drums on it. But like, rather than doing that first, now we're going to have all the tracks done, and we'll wait for one day and go in and try to do all the drums live. Get like some germ sealed studio and go get some live drums, have the engineer set it, have everything good. Okay, 1, 2, 3. He'll run out of the room. I'll run in. They'll press record. We'll get some live drums. And but it has changed the kind of the order that we record things in. It's funny. So
yeah. There's been a few records made, not many, but a few people that put the drums on last, especially when the drummer's got the sack or something. I'm just trying to think of a famous record they did that, but there There is a really famous record that did the drums last, isn't there? But it's not coming to the top of my head right now. It's difficult to do though, isn't it?
Yeah, because everyone likes to play along to the drums, which I get. It's and the Stray Cats, the last record we made, like all the ones, but last year, everyone still plays at once, and there's no click track, and everyone's very close and looks at each other, and it's very much the other way. But now we've got both ways under our belt, So
yeah.
Right. So
well,
how
that's great, Jim. That's all the stuff I need for the interview.
How are you getting through it all?
Just like this, just making everything go online, or digital. So I'm doing loads of little musical projects as well. So what you're doing, I'm doing as well. So people send me a bit of music, I'll put a little bit of bass on it, a bit of guitar. They'll send you backwards and forwards, and you can mix stuff. It's amazing what you can do on a laptop, isn't it? It's like having a whole 96 track recording studio in your bedroom, isn't it?
Yeah.
And one good mic, couple of guitars, and you're away, aren't you? You get so much stuff done.
Exactly. So we'll get you on Kenny's record. We'll send you some homework.
Yeah, send me a track. Because what I'm really interested about, Ebos, that little thing on the guitar, does that little feedback thing. Yeah. It's a beautiful sound. It's really atmospheric, but really edgy. So if you want a bit of Ebo on something, I've been sticking out a few things at the moment.
Yeah, Earl Slick was the first one I knew that did that, and it's really good. I love that sound. Yeah.
They're amazing, aren't they? Yeah, I saw him play actually the week he played with Glenn Matlock in Manchester. Yeah. It was like a really small gig in a bar. He was playing like it was a stadium. He was fantastic. He's a cool guy, and he's still got the whole thing. Yeah.
So what do you hear about, like, on your end? Like, when does everyone start playing again? September, October? Or...
Well, I think everybody's bumping everything into the autumn. I can't see it, because what you have to do is follow what's going on in China and Taiwan. The countries are sort of coming out of it first, but it's very nervous, isn't it? They keep shutting it down, starting it again. So until there's a vaccine or there's proper testing where people know if they've got the antibodies or not, it's going to be very difficult to make anything happen, isn't it? So, it could be in the autumn, or it could be another year. Yeah. So that we have to work out another way of being creative. Yeah. I mean, some people have been doing gigs like this. Oh, I think you've gone off a bit. Hello.
Yeah, sometimes there's a timer on these Zoom things. You run out of the meeting.
Yeah. So you're back on. It's clicking in and out and stuff. Yeah.
What happens to me when I do my radio program? Zoom allows you like a certain amount of time on the meeting, and then you have to do another.
Yeah, I think it's 40 minutes or something in it. Then they click you off, don't they? Yeah. I guess should we just shut it now because you keep going off? Yeah. But what I'll do, I'll send you Albini's email and introduce you to him if you want to. Have you talked about baseball?
To Albini, no. He was almost going to do a record with Sensible, Mike Peters, and me, and the schedules got crazy. But we were talking. This is like 4 or 5 years ago, and so like I met him online to talk to him a little bit. But I'd like to reconnect with him. So
yeah, I'll put you together tonight because he's a friend anyway. Yeah. So yeah, great. So I'll put you together on the email on that. Yeah. So all right, Jim. Well, thanks for your time, and
stay in touch then, and we'll make a plan.
We'll meet again, as the song goes. All right, next one. All right, see ya. Okay. Yeah.
Bye.
So I got you a nice little setup.
Beautiful.